Hey everyone, it is the Blonde Broker here at ECC. We are in Belgium at the Ginzio Media House, and I'm joined by none other than George, the founder of Axon Finance. How are you today?
I'm great, thank you for asking. How are
Is
you?
this your first time in Belgium?
Actually, yes. I've had many times the opportunity to come, but for one reason or another, I didn't. And now it's great to be here.
Yeah, it's a beautiful city.
I agree with that.
What about ECC? Is this your first conference?
Is the first time at ECC in Belgium, and what I noticed is there's a lot of people. The organization seems quite good, so kudos to them.
Yeah, how was the conference experience for you?
Conferences are always super busy, so that's what I would say. It's always meeting after meeting and event after event. So it's intense for sure, but I think that's the idea. So they did a really good job.
Is the sentiment pretty good? Is everyone happy? I know we're kind of in a little bit of a bearish dip right now.
My point of view is builders are going to build.
Yes.
And they're just here to deliver products. And I've been talking with a lot of builders. So I feel like the general sentiment is with the people I've talked at least is they just keep doing it. They just keep building. So to be honest, I haven't had so much discussions or heard anyone getting super stressed out.
Yeah.
Oh, the market is going this way or something like that. Most of the discussions I've had have been entirely on the future and what we're about to build.
And we've been riding these cycles for a while now. And speaking of building, how long have you been in crypto for?
Yeah, so I would say my journey started quite some time ago. I've been deep into the technology ever since 2013, 2014. This is when I was really kind of going into the white paper of Bitcoin and kind of educating myself of how the whole system works and where is the value, where is the innovation. But I had more hands-on experience ever since the last 4 or 5 years, to put it that way.
Your inspiration for Axon, did this come from you being in crypto?
5 years ago, I had first-hand experience also of some of the bad things that can come in this industry. So the pain that inspired the product is very simple. Even if you look at 2 years ago, many people woke up with the realization that most of their assets, if not all, are gone, vanished. And that's after the collapse of companies like FTX and other centralized institutions. And to me, it was weird because crypto wasn't meant for that. Basically, crypto was created after a collapse of traditional financial institutions. And people had this simple thesis that we should have this type of decentralized system where no centralized entity can basically do these shady things.
Exactly.
And suddenly we have done a full circle where many people were keeping their assets, their virtual assets, in centralized institutions.
Where it should be safe.
And for me, it was crazy. And that's when we realized that there is some kind of systematic problem. Because since I've been in this space and talked to many people in the past few years, I've even had the situation where I have talked to an employee at the company, which now at this point is a collapsed Ponzi. And many people were sure that this is a Ponzi. And talking to the employee, I was like, but why do you do that? Why do you work for this company? You know, it's shady and so on. And unfortunately, in many cases, employees would be, yeah, but it pays the salary.
Yeah.
But think about it. Even if you're an employee who wants to do the right thing, what can you do? Even if at some point you realize this company is doing something weird, what can you really do? You can reach out to regulators. But in many cases, they won't do much until the collapse happens because you have the whole due process. They need to collect evidence. It's a very hard thing to do in many situations, and it's a good thing as well because you have the presumption that everyone is innocent until proven guilty, and that should be that way. But it also makes the whole process very difficult, even if you're sure that some company is doing very weird stuff. You can, sometimes you can try to reach out to media, but if they're getting paid in millions in advertisement dollars, there is a big conflict of interest. So it's a less chance that somebody will print you or kind of do an article about any of or proper investigation. And you have this situation where the system is set up in such a way that decentralized institutions in many cases can stick around for a lot of time and continue to do weird things until they stop operating. And that's when people get hurt.
Yep.
And that's the inspiration, that's the pain that we're trying to solve and to address, because that's when we realize that the only way to solve this problem is by building a product which make these solutions irrelevant. Because you don't need to take this custody risk. You don't need to go into that direction, which can basically cause you a lot of pain.
I think touching on your point, we saw some of the FTX employees tried to speak out, and they would ask Sam in messages or question him, and they basically got shut down. It was like a threat. Like, if you question me, you don't like what I'm doing, you're gone.
Imagine what is in their shoes. You're sitting across somebody that has immense resources, potentially even political power, you'd never know, or some connections that you don't have.
You'd be scared.
What can you do?
Yeah.
And again, like right now, from a user perspective, because we need to take a look at that angle as well. As a user, what are your options? Basically, you can go first with a centralized exchange, and basically they offer very competitive prices. So if you want to move funds between fiat and crypto, this is the place where you can get a very good pricing. But then again, you take this custody risk. Alternative for you might be going with solutions that are on and off ramps like MoonPay, TransactWire, and so the others, which are great, but they'll charge you a very high fee. You're going to pay 2, 3, 4, 5% in fees. And there is still custody risk, by the way, for 5, 10, 15 minutes, but these solutions are still are custodial. So when we set out to build the first decentralized clearing house, this is the image we had in mind. Basically, we want to deliver the first type of solution that can allow you to do this flow of funds between the fiat world and the crypto world with fast, low cost, and fully non-custodial transactions. This doesn't exist, and because it doesn't exist, we still either need to pay really high fees, or we need to go and take the custody risk. And from my point of view, this is inefficient, and this pushes the whole market towards situations like the ones that we saw 2 years ago.
And you guys are working on fixing all these issues. Can you tell us, what is Axon?
Sure. So I'll split it into two parts. The first one is the protocol, which is, as mentioned, the decentralized clearing house. So basically, we are able to provide you a nice way to move funds between fiat and crypto, so USD, euros, and so on, without any custody risk and at a very low cost. We can go as low as 0.2% with zero custody risk. And that's the protocol. Once you have the protocol in place, you can basically build a new type of experience that previously weren't possible. So for example, on top of the protocol, we have our Axon 360, which is, you can think about it as a mobile app, which provides fully non-custodial experience when you want to trade, borrow, or even lend fiat or crypto. So it's a little bit like Coinbase with zero custody risk. You have your bank account, which exists already. Everybody, for good or for bad, has a bank account. You trust probably more or less your bank account, but beyond this bank account, we don't require you any third-party trust to be placed in any part of the system. So you can still do fiat trading, you can still do crypto trading, whatever you like, but the whole experience is non-custodial. And such thing hasn't been delivered. Think about one of the use cases. Previously, if, for example, you had 1 million in crypto and you didn't want to sell it, you would go to a company like Celsius, you would put your collateral there, which you have custody risk in the entire time where the collateral is placed, and you would get a fiat loan, and you would go and you would buy a car, for example. With us, everything is non-custodial. We are integrated with protocols like Aave, Benki, and others. So basically, the user can deploy their collateral in those well-tested protocols, and they can basically take a fiat loan directly to their bank account. Because basically we're utilizing the credit line that the protocol is providing, we're using the non-custodial crypto to fiat swap, and basically you get the fiat loan, the fiat in your bank account. And that's a new type of paradigm that didn't exist previously. It was not possible. And we are here to deliver that. We can both allow you to do this on and off ramps experience, which is fully non-custodial, well priced. At the same time, we can unlock even more sophisticated use cases that previously were possible only through centralized platforms. And
transactions, I'm guessing, are pretty quick.
Yes. So for example, in Europe, on and off ramping is pretty much instant. And in US, we start with instant off-ramp. For the instant on-ramp, there will be still a little bit of work that we need to do, but this is definitely something that is possible.
So my next question is, if I wanted to sign up with you guys, maybe kind of leave Coinbase, right, and come over to you, what countries do you service?
Sure. So right now we are operating in European Union and a big part of the European Economic Area. And very soon, in a week or two, we are basically going to do the first transactions with users in the US.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll attract, I think, a lot of attention with that. So when you do user acquisition, what does the marketing look like from your team?
Something we realized is that we have built a solution which is very synergetic with existing protocols. So think about all the protocols that exist right now are fully non-custodial, but they never have a proper fiat component. And we can easily join forces with those protocols. We are in touch with many of the protocols. By the way, for example, we start with Avalanche as our first chain, and we are integrated there.
That's massive.
Yeah, and the whole team behind Avalanche is really amazing. And we are in touch with all the big protocols there. And since the solution is very synergetic, it's very interesting, easy to do these partnerships, co-marketing, and things like that. I mean, we found out that this is a very natural way to reach users that potentially might have had the need for the fiat part of the equation, but didn't have it until now. And suddenly we can do the co-marketing together and grow together in many ways, unlock new use cases. So that's one part of it. The rest, I would say, they're well-tested playbooks. I mean, in the DeFi world, you have their airdrops, the KOLs and influencers that you can get on board. All of these are well familiar at this point in time. The offline speaking events and all these type of things, I would say, are fairly standard, and we do plan to employ them. PR, also paid marketing even. There are various things that you can do, and we have all these tools at our disposal and are starting to deploy them one by one.
Awesome. It sounds like you're covering all of the basis points for marketing. So how many of your team are here at the conference with you?
So actually, because everyone is busy shipping the US experience
Getting
right now, everybody got the ban to basically, we need to stay focused. So I'm the only person that is currently here. So most of the team is currently working very hard to deliver that, and they have full focus, and they're doing a great job from what I can see.
How big is your team?
We are currently 15.
15.
We grew with few people in the last few months because obviously as we get closer to operational and we start to get real funds moving through the platform and so on, we start growing.
And is this when I go home back to the US, is this an app that I'll be able to download?
Yes, so that's correct. So basically we do have a mobile application which is both on iOS and Android. We already have more than 2,300 or 2,400 people waiting for access.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, there are already a lot of people that really want to try the service. We're using the playbook that Robinhood did in terms of how we do the launch. We do it through a wait list where we can have kind of like a stage rollout of the product and make sure that basically we improve it gradually and iteratively. So that's our approach right now.
And my last question for you, and I think I know the answer because I really appreciate the transparency in what you guys are building after I've been burned in the past with crypto and the exchanges. So I love you guys. What is the legacy that you want to leave behind with Axon?
You know, for me, whenever I start something, I try to imagine how the world would look like 10, 20 years in the future. And I think with blockchain, there are a few things that weren't possible previously and are possible now. So there is a lot of value that blockchain technology brings in terms of interoperability, self-custody, and things like that. And obviously, all of these solutions will not be built overnight. But I think, and where we're positioning the companies, I want to see a future where people can transact in the world with a very low chance of getting any type of scam or any type of fraud impacting them. So I do imagine a future where people can rest assured that their assets are safe and they can use money what they're meant to be used for, just transacting, doing business, and take all these type of scary parts of the whole ecosystem away. So this is the future I want to see, and this is how we would like to develop the company. Non-custodial experience, limit the risk for users so they can easily go between all the protocols that exist, so the different fiat companies and crypto companies, everything should work seamlessly. And this is where we want to go.
And if someone wanted to sign up with you guys, what is the website? What's your handle on X?
Sure. So basically the website is axon.finance. And the handle is Axon_finance.
_finance.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, thank you, George, for an amazing interview. I feel like that was very passionate, and I'm excited to sign up.
Looking forward to have you on board.
Yeah,
and,
nice.
And all the others who decide to join. Excited to have you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, what's up?
This is
But
Zach.
it's not something Genzio is afraid of.
If you want to survive, you got to build a
How
hive.
many know we do not understand?
Ladies and gentlemen.
Get back at the Genzio Media House.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us today.